Chasing Amy is written and directed by Kevin Smith, and it stars Ben Affleck, Jason Lee, and Joey Lauren Adams. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my channel. My name is Josh, and I'm here to give you my 2-cent review on the 1997 Kevin Smith directed film, Chasing Amy. Now, I'm going to start off by saying this. I don't do romantic comedies. They are not my thing. But this is my favorite Kevin Smith movie, and he is one of those directors I very much highly look up to. So I felt like, since I've already done Red State, might as well do as many films of his as I can, and he's got quite a few films under his belt. So this is my favorite Kevin Smith movie to date, and nothing has topped it. So let's get started with the synopsis of this. Let's get started with the synopsis of this film, and let's, give you my likes and my dislikes of this movie. So basically, the movie is about two comic book artists who are living the high life somewhat in New Jersey. And during a Comic-Con panel, they meet this girl, played by Joey Lauren Adams, and Ben Affleck's character, Holden, falls in love with her. And her name is Alyssa. And so basically, but little beknownst to him, she's a lesbian, and he falls in love with her. And once he realizes that that's what she is, he doesn't know how to feel about it, but it doesn't stop him from falling in love with her, and eventually she falling in love with him, and it just starts a chain of events where, it's just a very realistic portrayal of how a relationship really is, especially when it deals with jealousy and past lives and, being able to move on and accept people for who they are as human beings. I love this movie. I absolutely cannot say a bad thing about it. This movie is amazing. I dug the characters. I loved the dialogue in this movie, even though it's very simplistic, but yet at the same time it's very charming. It's very different in the sense that this is not the type of movie. This is not like he's just not that into you. This isn't like any other type of. That's a bad example of a movie, even though Ben Affleck's in that movie as well. But I'm not a big fan of romantic comedies. They all tend to be the same. They all fall into the category of, they end up together, they live happily ever after, blah, blah, blah. I don't care for that crap. It's not entertaining to me when you know that's where the film is going to end up leading in the end. Yeah, they have their trials, their differences, and blah, 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 but they end up happy in the end. This movie takes a turn, and I do appreciate the turn. Now, what the turn is in this movie, I am not going to tell you unless you have seen this film. Obviously, then you know. But I am one of those people who would definitely say, check this movie out. It is definitely Kevin Smith's third film at the time. It was released in '97. It was made for $250,000. That's impressive because the movie has Ben Affleck in it. He's a big bankable movie star. So it's like, and even at that particular time, he was still doing pretty well for himself. And for $250,000, he must have taken a very small paycheck for this movie. But nonetheless, and I love the independent feel this movie has, and that's one of the things I very, very, very much appreciate about Kevin Smith as a filmmaker, is that he doesn't want to do big budget flicks. He wants to do smaller independent features, and I love that. That's what makes this movie so special to me, in my opinion, is the fact that it is independent. He has gone outside of the independent circuit and done films like Cop Out and Mallrats, which were not well received, nor were they very well liked. Mallrats has a bit of a cult following. Cop Out has absolutely nothing going for it. But, Kevin Smith gave it a shot, and then he went and did films like Zack and Miri, and now he's doing Red State, Tusk, and Yoga Hosers, and he's got a few more coming. We've got a new Jay and Silent Bob coming eventually, so that's great news. He's actually going back to independent filmmaking. But nonetheless, I think this is a movie that you have to check out because it's very different. It's very outside the norm, and it's a very personal story. This movie just hit home for me, just in how I've viewed my past relationships. There are some similarities that I can, agree with, and not to mention I can relate to. So, I really dug this movie. I dug the characters. I dug the humor of this movie. Even though it's a little bit outdated to a degree, it's still it's still funny because you remember those times back in the 90s. So I'm going to say overall, my consensus is this is a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece for me. I really enjoy this movie. I think anybody who's a fan of film, who's a fan of great storytelling, who's a fan of Kevin Smith, they need to check this movie out. This is a great, great movie, and I don't think there's a person alive who should not see this movie to at least a certain extent. Is it for everybody? No, it is not. If you can't handle severe raunchy dialogue, you're not going to like this movie. But if you are a fan of raunchy comedy, if you're a fan of very story-driven comedies and character pieces, this is up your alley. And this is definitely up my alley, and this is why I'm reviewing this to you today, because I think this is a movie that needs to be seen. And I think Kevin Smith is a very underrated director these days, and I think he deserves more credit than what he's getting nowadays. So with that being said, hit the subscribe button, you guys. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below. What'd you think of Chasing Amy? Is it higher on the list for you as far as favorite Kevin Smith films? I plan on doing a ranking video at some point of Kevin Smith's filmography from his best to his worst, or from his worst to best, whichever I decide to do first. Yeah, just let me know down in the comment section. Hit the like button as well, and more love, more content that you guys will get. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll have more content coming to you soon. So take care.